Hello, Dr. Monroe. I'm very bad at this. Just warning you. In Haddon Robinson's book and in Fred B. Craddock's, they both talked about preaching and how outside forces would be important. Haddon Robinson focuses more on maybe the physical, and Craddock focuses more on the outside. Haddon talks about Mr. Robinson talks about your grooming and how you should dress and how you should be spontaneous in your judgments. I use my hands a lot, and so according to what Robinson says, I maybe need to watch that and make sure it makes a point, because it can become annoying to people. It can distract them or make them think that I don't care or I'm not paying attention. It's very important to make eye contact with your audience. Both men point that out. Something that I will have an issue with, because I've had a small speech impediment since I was young. I mix up my R's and my W's. And they both say that maybe speech therapy or talking to someone who does speech is a good idea. Robinson's and the is a very bad thing. I'm working on it. Robinson points out that punctuation in certain areas is a good idea. It helps you to make your point across. You don't have to yell, you don't have to scream, but you can lower and raise your voice in certain places, not screaming, but just different tones. Robinson also points out that it's very good to rehearse your speech, obviously, because you get rid of the ums. You can also go ask for feedback from your congregation, and don't be scared to hear what they're going to say, because it's only going to make you a better presenter and help you to get your point across. Craddock's was really interesting to me because he also talks about speech therapy, and I hadn't thought about, going in and checking out your furniture, which he talks about. How does it do with your height? How are the acoustics? Go in the day before, make sure you know the flow of service. Since I am fairly short, I'm only 5'2.5", and the half does count. If the person before me may be giving the communion meditation is very tall, whatever they use would not be appropriate for me, so I would know that there would need to be adjustments made, and I could figure that out before, and we could work that out so there's not an interruption of the flow of service. He also points out that using notes or a manuscript is sometimes controversial. Do you want to take your manuscript? Do you want to take your Bible? In my church, I've seen both ways. I've seen both things. For me, because I have memory issues because of my lupus, I would need to take a manuscript, and I would also need to take my Bible, because I feel a Bible. How do you preach without a Bible? And you can't ask your congregation to look up the Bible verses if you're not looking them up. So, due to my physical limitations, I would need to have both, and I would hope that it would not offend the congregation, but that is just something that I know that I would need to do. I found both of them very interesting, and they both made a very clear idea that you need to make eye contact. When it comes to Jonah, I have read Jonah many times, and I think this is the first time I'm really getting a clear understanding of Jonah. As a newer Christian and as someone who deals with chronic illness, Jonah and the way I came to God is just so important. Jonah was called by God to do a job. Jonah didn't want to do the job. Jonah tried to hide from God. When I got sick, God was trying to tell me, you need to preach about this. You need to teach people about this illness. You need to be there for the people who have this illness. I didn't want to hear it. Just like Jonah Tried to run from God. Everything's good. My health is better. I'm doing great. In Jonah's case, God threw him in a fish. Let him sit in a fish for 3 days and stew about his thing. Jonah thought about it, prayed to God. God, forgive me. Went and did his mission. In my case, I ran from God. Thought my health is better. I don't need God. I'm doing this on my own. I had the support of my family. I'm doing great. And in December of 2014, God paralyzed me for 12 hours. I could not move anything but my head. Actually, I couldn't even move that. Scott would have to move it for me because it would slowly fall this way and move back this way. And all you can do when you can't move an inch of your body is think about it. God was clearly sending me a message. I got the message. And now I'm following my dream. And I'm following God's wisdom. I am practicing what He wants me to preach, and I'm reaching out to those with chronic illness. Jonah did the same thing, but then he still backpedaled. And when God allowed Nineveh to be redeemed, Jonah was angry. He said, I knew this was going to happen. I knew you were going to redeem them, and they didn't need me. And he was angry with God. So God sent Noah outside. He sent him the plant to cover him while he was hot and to give him comfort. And then God took the plant away. And Noah was angry. But what was God showing him? God can send his love, and God can take away his love. But there's a lesson in everything. We're 120,000 people worth Noah being proved right. Were their lives worth it? Is our life worth it? So I see a lot of myself in Jonah. I just hope I'm not as stubborn as Jonah. But I am truly enjoying this. Just bits to think about. Thank you, and God bless.